want to welcome Andrew Upton and Cate Blanchett. He is an accomplished playwright. She is an Academy Award-winning actress. Today they are talking about their position as a joint artistic directors for the Sydney Theatre Company, and you're about to open your production, Uncle Vanya, at the Lincoln Center. And I wanted to talk to you right out the gate about attendance, because you've been able to increase attendance. You're in the black. You've been very successful. As artistic people, what has running a theater company really taught you about your industry and your art form that you didn't know before?
Well, we are artistic directors as well as co-artistic directors as well as co-CEOs, as well as being married. So I suppose we're co-everything, really.
I forgot to mention that. Small
we don't
detail.
forget. And I think it's been great to sort of be part of breaking down the myth that people who work in the arts have no sense of fiscal responsibility, because obviously we're responsible for the artistic vibrancy of the company, but as well as we oversee its financial health. And it's been fantastic for us to, I suppose, enter the realm of the producer, because before taking on the role at the Sydney Theatre Company, we were freelance, and you as a writer and me as an actress. And I think to be able to facilitate taking risk, both financial and artistic, on other artists' work has been a great pleasure and a privilege for us.
When you think about the business, has that affected any of your creative decisions?
No, not really. I think we always want an audience. So what it's affected probably is the way we phrase those creative decisions, or perhaps the way we budget for them. And I think we're still learning that, some shows have got lower audience expectations, or perhaps lower audience appeal, but they still need to be done. They need to be done for the artists, for the artist development, for the development of the form, for the investigation, for the kind of health of the company. And so we're still trying to work out how to keep afloat that aspect of the company's important work with the, everyone wants an audience. We get into this business because we like communicating with people.
Right, and when you think about that, aside from just the artistic merit of the project, what has differentiated you in terms of your business approach that's made you so successful? What's the key factor of your success?
Well, when you say success, do you mean financial success?
I mean financial success.
Because really, we are a state theatre company, and that sounds like a very sort of Eastern Bloc, totally government-funded organisation.
You got $30 million of funding.
Yes, but no, well, I wish. Of our overall
8%.
8%.
So we've got a $30 million turnover.
Okay.
8% of that we get from the government, and they get to call us a state theatre company.
Which is, but we do take the role of being a state theatre company very seriously,
right.
And we're a public organisation. But the bulk of our money comes from corporate sponsorship and philanthropic giving.
Comes from ticket sales.
Ticket sales, yeah.
The bulk of the subsidiary money, if you like, the sort of ballast, comes from corporate sponsorship and philanthropy. It's a great thing, because it's a direct connection to our core audience as well, because obviously the companies that we work with in sponsorship, for instance, or the philanthropical, the folk that we talk to there are interested in theatre and connected to the theatre anyway. So there's actually direct audience feedback that you can harvest.
Right, and listen to for your next.
Yeah, from these relationships. You don't want to get led by the nose, but you do want to know how things have panned out and what the balance of the program has been and how it's felt as an audience member for the year. So there's quite a lot of great information there, and I think we are a generation that has embraced that connection to the corporate world and the philanthropical world. And perhaps earlier, when there was maybe more public funding going into it, and the perception was that money should be just spent on the art. That's a different. We aren't from that.
But also, mindset. In relation to just to answer your question more directly about our success or our financial successes, we've had a couple of very profitable years, but you can't bank on that. I mean, it's really important. We produce up to 19 shows a year across our education programs, and the shows that we've got on tour, like we just did a big tour to Europe with a production of Gross and Climb. We had a show in Chicago, and here we are in New York at the Lincoln Center with this show. But then also back home, there's so much going on, and I think it's really important for us to keep taking risk, and that if you make a profit 1 year, you've got to plough it back in to make the business sustainable. And so it's not, you have to walk that fine line of if you're too financially successful, you lose that tiny bit of government money that you've got. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, some of our biggest, most well-attended shows, because the budgets have been so large, they haven't actually turned a profit, but we haven't made a loss on them. So there's success is there's various shades of success, and often an artistic success doesn't necessarily correlate with financial success. So you have to. That's why it's great to be across both arms of the company, in that we're able to, as co-CEOs and artistic directors, we're able to mitigate the loss and against the risk and the success, and we can.
When you think about your process for selecting productions, what is that process, and why Uncle Vanya?
Well, I mean, both of us love the play. You particularly, as a writer, because Andrew did the adaptation with the director Thomas Asher.
I think there are certain playwrights, or there are certain bodies of work that a theatre company with any kind of historical roots, they really should be constantly going back to. There is this canon of work, and obviously Shakespeare is key in the English language, and Chekhov is really up there with that. There's such seminal works in such a hugely influential form for theatre, which is naturalism, that it's very important that a theatre company that's got, kind of, like I say, historical roots, that's not just a one-off thing or not just a transient thing, should try and touch on that every couple of years, I think, because it's like renewing your blood. So Chekhov was bound to come along sometime in our 6-year tenure, and Vanya, the company hadn't done Vanya for a while, but that wouldn't matter really. It's a beautiful play. I was very attracted to it. Richard and Hugo, who are both Vanya and Astrov, were very attracted to it, so it helped us secure such a wonderful cast. So it just sort of made sense, but essentially, philosophically, if you like, it would always be a real cornerstone of our work.
What does it feel like to open up in New York City? I mean, you're very accomplished, you've done this a million times, but do you still get nervous, and does that ever get away from you?
Well, you never want to lose your nerves, because that's part of the attraction, isn't it? There's always excitement to opening anything. And then, of course, I don't know, New York's so, in my mind, so profoundly tied to theatre, actually, that to be bringing something here is it's very, very exciting and daunting, but in that exciting way. Not oh God, what are we doing this for? Because we are confident of the production, or I am certainly. I don't know. It's different for actors.
You're not to speak for your wife.
I can't speak for the actors because they've got to get up there and actually do it in front of the audience. But it's very exciting.
It's a twin thing in a way. I think I get most nervous when I'm in front of an Australian audience somehow, because you know the theatrical community, you've worked with the majority of them, and so it's a little bit like sort of standing up at your wedding. Suddenly you lose your voice, so that can be nerve-wracking. But no, it's always. Our son's been doing quite a lot of public speaking lately, and saying to him, he's quite nervous about it, and keeps saying, just you've got to trick yourself and say that the nerves are actually from the same place as excitement,
which they
probably are. But that's exactly what I try and tell myself. It's both nerve-wracking and exciting.
What about the reviews? Do you read them, and does a good or bad review really have an effect when you've overseen an entire production from start to finish?
I think a good review is wonderful but useless. I mean, from a creative point of view, wonderful for ticket sales. I mean, if you're talking about which hat I'm wearing at the moment.
Yeah, they're great for ticket sales.
I don't read them. When I'm in a production, I don't read them. But afterwards,
Why don't you read them?
Because if they're good, then you'll just start doing those bits, or they like those bits. I mean, we're all human. If someone says, I like your hair like that, and suddenly you start wearing your hair like that every day. And if it's a bad review, they only hurt if you go, yeah, that's right. They're actually, what they said there was actually true. We should have, and and that's as artistic directors, it's not just the major papers. I mean, there's so many people out there reviewing, which is actually fantastic. Because if you go to see a work, a play or a concert or whatever, you're playing to between 300 and 1,500 people, and there will be a pocket of that audience that really gets it no matter what the show is. There'll be a pocket of the audience that doesn't get it at all, and there'll be some people who, everyone's got a different response. So the more voices there are out there reviewing it, it's great for an audience to it's not only channeled through the one perception. But for us, I suppose, there's certain reviewers that we read because they understand the form. They understand, say, the history of the company or the history of the performers that they're reviewing, and they can contextualise what goes on in that evening. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a lot of cruelty out there. I mean, no one. Was it Woody Allen that said this? There's no one sets out to make a bad film, or likewise a bad performance. But it's no. If I'm in the show, I won't read it. You can read them. That's why we share the job.
And do you?
Artistic directorially, yes.
Okay.
Because you do want to know how you want to take the temperature, and it's a great kind of ready reckoner on the temperature. As Cate says, really creatively in the end, if it's bad and it hurts, there's probably something in there to learn from. If it's bad and you think, wow, that was mean, you can just ignore it because some people are like that. And if it's good, it's lovely, but there's not much you can do with it.